The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, my name is Leo Connors, and welcome to The Ring and All Other Sports. Tonight, I got two special guests. This is the second episode in my four-part series on families in New England independent wrestling. Let's welcome T and AJ Phoenix. Guys, thank you.
Pleasure.
This is going to be a lot of fun. I've just meeting T. AJ's been on the show before, so we're going to have a nice conversation, and we'll find out all about you guys. So obviously, T, you were a wrestling fan first.
Oh, yeah.
When did you first see pro wrestling?
I would have to do some math to tell you the exact year. I can tell you it was WrestleMania 7. It was a VHS that my father brought home from the bar that he frequented quite often. And I saw it, and I was absolutely hooked from then on in, like Sergeant Slaughter and Hulk Hogan. And nice. I mean, the Rockers starting it off. I was hooked. Right. And, from there, I'm checking the TV guide. Where else is this wrestling stuff? WTBS, I think we have that channel. I'll watch that too. Yep. And I couldn't get enough of it.
Were you a magazine kid at all?
Not really. I didn't find the magazines till later on. Yeah. I mean, I had a subscription to WWE magazine, right. WWF magazine as it was. But it wasn't until later on I started seeing the Pro Wrestling Illustrated and the After Mags, as they call them.
Yeah, I started buying when I was 7. My dad was wicked cool. You know what I mean? Neither one of my parents liked wrestling at all. But they saw me reading them all the time, so they didn't mind buying them. How about you, AJ? I mean, you've said this on the show before, but might as well just,
Yeah, well, I mean, to see wrestling at all, my first time was probably whatever he was doing in the backyard. Before I could even remember, I was in the backyard, mattresses and all that good stuff that they were doing. I got involved when I was too young to walk. But my earliest, big time mainstream wrestling memories, aside from watching DX DVDs when I was really little and probably shouldn't have,
right? Which
I don't blame him. That wasn't his fault.
I did the same thing with my son. So.
I think I was hooked on Triple H. I think I saw a John Cena documentary. I was hooked on him.
Right.
So right around 2011, and I know this is going to be a weird thing for everybody because I'm so much younger. Everybody talks about, Hogan body slamming Andre. For me, it was I was hooked on John Cena for a little while but right around the point where everybody was all right, we're done with John Cena.
Right.
And then when CM Punk did his promo, and the pipe bomb as it was called, that was when wrestling started becoming the way I see it now. I was just wow, okay. CM Punk became my hero from that point on. And so that was probably my earliest, fondest memory of mainstream wrestling.
You must have been pumped when he came back. I mean,
screaming.
I've been around him and he wasn't always the nicest guy, you know what I mean? But even though he was like that, he's so talented. I always want to see him. Any chance I get, I want to watch Punk work.
I completely agree.
All right, so who were some of your favorites when you first started watching? This will be great because you'll both have different favorites. So.
Like I said, Hogan absolutely
yep.
Was a favorite. Bret Hart, although since I've changed my mind on him. And Shawn Michaels, absolutely. Shawn Michaels, to this day, still think he's one of the greatest.
He's one of my favorites, too.
There's some crossover. I mean, I didn't get to live through the Hogan era, so I can't really call him one of my favorites. And then you learn about things as you get older and tend to shy away from it as a whole with Hulk Hogan. But Shawn Michaels, absolutely one of my all-time favorites, right up there with Triple H. As we said before, I love DX. Right. CM Punk, Chris Jericho, they're probably my top 2 all-time favorites. And I'm just going to give one of my boys a shout out right now. Stephen Lust is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time as well.
Nice.
The Right Stuff, Stephen Lust.
Excellent. A little boy from my hometown.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I already asked if you were a magazine kid. What about you? Did you like magazines?
So they kind of, just stopped printing the magazines after a while. So I can't really... I mean, I was on the WWE magazines for a little while, but I didn't really grow up reading them. I kind of just grew up. WWE's in my backyard, or my dad owns WWE. Like, that's kind of how it was for me. So like, I never really appreciated WWE wrestling, and therefore everything they were putting out, like, until I was older. So I got into WWE magazines right around like the Shield era of or so, but like, I've never been huge on it. I'll pick up like a PWI every now and again, but like, not big on collecting them or anything.
Right, because I think they stopped maybe 2 or 3 years after the Shield came in like 2013. No more WWE magazines.
That was the first and only check I'll ever get from WWE was when they refunded me for the rest of my
no
subscription.
Hey, don't say that. You're a talented kid. I've told you that before. It's so true. I'm not,
But there's other games in town now.
Yeah, exactly. But you could work there or somewhere else. Who knows?
We'll see.
All right. How about the first wrestling show you ever went to?
Outside of WWE?
How about we say both? I could do a WWE and then an indie.
All right, so WWE, they used to come, at least in Rhode Island, or even in Massachusetts too. They did the tent shows, as they call them.
Yes.
They went to Cape Cod. They went where there is now a Lowe's. There used to be Warwick Musical Theater.
Okay.
I remember very vividly that in our apartment in North Providence, my mother was cooking on the grill, and she says, "Anthony, hold these. I got to cook on the grill." And I'm like, "All right, I'll hold these." What? They're tickets, WWE tickets. Oh my God, we're going to WWE. So it was like completely out of left field. Wasn't expecting it, and that was my first WWE show. And if you've ever been there, it's not a bad seat in the house. It was a good one to go to. I mean, it was the B show. I mean, you weren't seeing Hogan, but Randy Savage was still there, and I was happy with that.
Yeah, he better off probably too in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was a better worker.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
Hogan was great. I'm not saying that. So was Savage. Do you remember what the main event was? Savage and
Savage and Jake the Snake, maybe?
Savio Vega.
No,
That's my guess.
It wasn't Savage.
who'd you say?
Savio Vega. Oh wait, that's closer to
No, that sounds about right. I mean, he did have a good feud with Jake.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards. So I may be wrong, but I'll lean towards that way.
All right, and the indie.
So I was in 5th grade, and NEWA came to my elementary school. It was the first time I knew of any wrestling outside of WWE, and had no idea anything else existed. And I saw the likes of Gino Giovanni and Dave Padula, but I can't remember the name he went by.
Was he playing the Arabian dude or something?
No, it wasn't that.
Oh, okay. I know he was Live Wire.
Live Wire, that's the one.
Live Wire.
That's
that
the
was
one.
his hardcore one.
Yep. And like Dragonfly and Studley Steve Stallion.
Nice.
Yeah, all those. I was blown away. I'm like, oh, this is right in my school.
Right.
And I actually won the gift basket raffle and got tickets to my second WWE show in that one.
That's wicked cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I learned something new today too. Well, I mean, we kind of already covered my first show ever would have been, again, whatever he was doing in the backyard.
Yeah.
But my first WWE show was a Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
I don't remember all the specifics of it. I do remember the night going there. I just don't remember the actual show or anything that happened on it. I was very young. What was it, 2?
It was the lead into WrestleMania, and the program was Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels. So whatever year that was. Yeah.
So
you were 2 years old.
They had me make a sign that said my first Raw, and I can't remember if you told me like they got a shot of it on
Somebody
the
at
camera.
ringside did get a ringside shot of it. I don't know if it ended up in a magazine or
Right.
wherever it did.
So early origin story with that one.
Right.
But the first one I really remember going to, I think must have been like 2009 or so. We went to a SmackDown or something like that at the Providence Place Mall, Dunkin' Donuts Center, same thing. I remember honestly not liking CM Punk for whatever reason.
Really?
I don't know.
So the first time you saw him, you didn't like him?
Yeah, I think it was just because like somebody we were with did like him or something as fickle as that. I was a little kid. I can't
Who
be
did he
held
wrestle? Do you
responsible.
remember? Did you like the guy he wrestled? That could be that.
I don't know. And like now it's kind of an out of body experience because I've seen so many videos of that time period since then that it's like, okay, maybe I don't really remember it, but you know, it was so early. How am I supposed to remember it? You know? Like I've done so much actual wrestling since then that I just grown up, you know?
Right. I got to ask, did you guys ever, because you brought up Studley Steve Stallion, did you ever go to any Primal Conflict shows?
No, because I was never old enough. The place in Johnston that they were advertised for, I think, was 18 plus, and I was just never over.
You're right. There was. I went once. They ran Bill Ricker. Like I said, I grew up in Lowell, and I went to one, and I wish I went to all of them, because I don't know if you noticed on Facebook, but it's Kid Chops video. He's
I think
putting
they
out
added me.
all kinds on Facebook. Look him up on Facebook,
Okay.
and he's posted all the stuff. I guess he was a cameraman for years. So he's got all Primal Conflict stuff, NEWA stuff.
I'll check it out.
So it's
for sure.
really cool. All right, let's get back into this. AJ, how old were you when you found out your dad was a wrestler? You really comprehended it.
I really don't think there was ever any one moment of realization.
Okay.
I think I grew up with that as the norm, you know? I think there's been different points where the definition of wrestling changed.
Yeah.
Because you're talking a bunch of kids playing around on stolen mattresses from the back of wherever to
Right.
now we have a real ring still in the backyard, bunch of untrained kids. Now we're talking trained wrestlers in a building that's also frequented by Bob Evans. And
Oh, nice.
then we move upstairs and we move to this building, we move to that building. The production value improves over time. Eventually I'm training, and it just like I said, the definition of wrestling always changed, but
Right.
it was always a constant. There was never a, oh my God, Dad, you're John Cena. I don't know. Wrestling was never, it's always been a very blurred line for me.
Okay.
And maybe that had some sort of effect on growing up, but
Right.
it just, wrestling was part of life. And
Do you
natural at
remember
that.
when, the first time? Hold on, when did you start bringing AJ to shows?
I don't think there was ever a point where he didn't come to shows.
Really? Even
Only
as
when
a
I got
baby?
only when I got in trouble and I wasn't allowed to go to shows anymore.
Well, you probably deserved it, kid.
No, it was the wrestler's fault for being a bad influence on me, supposedly.
There was a backyard show where he was napping and woke up and came outside, and I was bleeding, so he started crying. Other times, once we got a building, it was always a family affair. Everybody brought their significant other or their kids, and it was what we did on a Sunday afternoon, and everybody spent quality time together. So it would be natural that he was there.
Right. Excellent. All right.
Well, he
I
said,
want to back up for a minute and get back to how you got started in the business and who trained you.
Well, it was a very non-traditional way, to say the very least. Like he's stated a number of times, it was always backyard wrestling, and then the neighbors complained to a point where we couldn't backyard wrestle, so we got a building. And from there, it manifested from having this small warehouse space to a bigger warehouse space, and then venturing out into this gymnasium, this VFW hall, this Elks Lodge, et cetera, et cetera. As far as training, I can't name one particular person. It was not formal, to say the least.
Yep.
I've definitely had a lot of influences. For better or worse, maybe even some people you may not have heard of, but I'm a firm believer in you can learn something from anybody.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I've done a seminar here and there, whether it be with Vader or possibly somebody else I'm forgetting right now. JT Dunn and I were very close friends, and for a while I think we were helping each other grow, but I think he is far beyond a lot of people, including myself, so I was able to learn a lot from him. Jose Perez, to this day, I'll message him with business-related questions and stuff like that, so he's always been a great source of information. I mean, inside the ring or outside the ring, it doesn't matter.
Nice. Jose's an awesome guy. I've known him a long time. He really is great. His whole family.
Absolutely.
All right. So, what companies did we'll go with you, AJ. What companies did you work for besides RWA, and who was the first companies to book you?
House of Bricks with Brickhouse Baker was all right, maybe that's not true, because there's two runs to my wrestling career. There's the one where I take it seriously, which is what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And then there was my cosplay CM Punk career that I did at about 11 years old. So if we're going to start there, Jose Perez was the first one to book me outside of RWA. I forget which show it was called, but I I was managing Robbie the Giant in a tag match, which is funny because we just wrestled this past weekend.
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook. Yeah,
and
he's good too. Huh?
Yeah. Oh my God,
he really is.
It was such a treat to work him, and I'd do it again any day. But so that happened. I think I had a little spot, and he insists that I messed up my spot. But whatever the spot was, that was like my first booking. It was in a high school gym somewhere, and it was just like, wow, this is cool. You know, of course, I'm like 11, 12 years old, and I just think I'm the shit right there. Excuse my language.
So he'll beep it out if he has to.
I'm sorry. What was I going to say? But as far as, when I was actually hitting the ground running, House of Bricks definitely was the first one. I remember when Teach Brick House was just starting to run training for us at the Chop Shop. This is like 2019, or I want to say maybe, no, 2017. I know my years. 2017, something along those lines. The very end of 2017, I had been training for a certain amount of time with Brick. One of my friends, Justin Sylvia, had also been training with him for a while at that point. Justin was a backyard kid, and it was kind of like my goal to bring him and the whole clan into what I was doing, so that way, what their wrestling could mean something. Like, I took the step down to do some backyard wrestling because I feel like I kind of skipped over that part of paying my dues. It was fun. It helped me explore some things. But point of me saying all that was Justin was like the shining star coming out of that backyard in particular. And he had a senior project coming up. And so for a senior project, I was like, let's run a wrestling show.
I remember you telling me this.
Yeah.
Story. You can tell it again. Don't get me wrong. I love this story.
So we ran a wrestling show. We had a bunch of the guys that we would have on an RWA show booked. Like, it wasn't anything super different. But we main evented against each other. It was his first real match ever. Wow. I mean, granted, it was a lot of family and friends in the building. We had everybody surrounding the ring, pounding on the mat for us. Like, we did that good. And so Teach saw that match and was so amazed that he pulled us out of the battle royal we were going to be in. So, like, don't get me wrong, I love doing battle royals now, but you know what you're getting into in a House of Bricks battle royal. You're getting worked over, you're getting young boyed, you're paying your dues.
Right.
We got to skip over that because we had proven we belonged. And honestly, House of Bricks probably opened just about every door for me after that. If not directly, just because my body of work was able to improve.
Before I follow up with you on that, do you own the Chop Shop? Who owns the Chop Shop?
Well, the Chop Shop has since dissolved.
It has, okay.
It was a victim of the pandemic, just like a lot of other things were. But it was a warehouse building in Pawtucket that I rented on a monthly basis. Okay. So yeah, I was
paying the bills.
I was paying the bills.
Nice. Okay. Now about you, like once you got going and you're wrestling, did you like wrestle outside of of the shows you booked on?
Yes, but they weren't exactly. I mean, there was. I'll name a bunch of places that don't even exist anymore. They weren't the best quality of shows.
That's
it was lower tier type stuff.
I've learned a lot since I started this show. I've met untrained wrestlers that back in the day I would have been like, but no, I see things now like a total different way from doing this show. It's amazing. Like, I'll just say, like, for instance, Delilah Hayden and Dennis.
Derek Conway?
Yeah. I mean, phenomenal people. I love those guys. And I wouldn't have known. Somebody told me, and I don't really care. I just want to see wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, when did you start RWA?
I started RWA in 2007.
Wow.
Yeah, that long. It feels like an eternity.
And I apologize for not coming down, but I'm like, really? I don't like to take long rides to shows. It's the ride home. It's never the ride there.
Right.
You know? But I went to North Carolina with Damon. You guys know Damon Farrer, right?
Yes.
And a 14-hour drive. Now I have no problem. I'll take a 2-hour drive to go to a show now. So you'll see me soon.
October 30th. Say the word, bro.
What's
October 30th.
All right.
Don't the plugs usually come at the end?
Yeah, but we'll definitely
Get 'em in
plug
now.
some more. Absolutely.
I'm on mark.
All right. AJ, we discussed that on your episode on 198. Could you kind of just quickly tell your start in training? We already did that. Sorry, guys. When you first started wrestling, were there any New England indie veterans that helped you with good advice?
I don't think I was very well liked by any New England indie veterans.
Right.
And this includes Brickhouse.
Well, see, I think
But some of them must have come around.
Well, David would show up in the backyard, and that was also to keep an eye on the kids that Brickhouse was training at the same time. I think slowly, as we started to prove ourselves, that some of them would kind of come around. I mean, I'm thinking back to like maybe 2011, 2013. Somebody like Matt Storm I had a tables match against Mike Grosso for XWA, and he gave some advice going into that. So
Matt is a great guy.
Absolutely. We had a rocky start, but I think as I grew up and matured, and once you get out of the wrestling business, you kind of look at it a different perspective. I think that's where he's at now. And I can't go while the timeline doesn't fit as far as early on. I can't exclude Brickhouse Baker, because for a number of years he's been very helpful.
Right.
Very helpful. But no, early on, didn't really endear myself. We were backyarders, and I get it now. I totally get it now.
Well, it's funny that you brought up David Baker, because he's the mean brother. Devin's the nice one.
Yes.
Sometimes.
David, I'm just kidding. I try to say it when his name gets brought up. I always say that. All right. How about you, AJ? Like when you started, when you went to House of Bricks, besides Brickhouse, was there anybody, that like if you asked them to watch a match, or they just came up to you on their own?
See, yes, that was one of my favorite parts about working at House of Bricks, was that you had the kids you were training with.
Right.
You had maybe 2 or 3 slightly bigger names that maybe just rocked up in there for this particular show, but there was a lot of guys like Sweet Scott Ashworth, Powerful Pat Garrett, Donnie Rotten, and I mean, there's been a lot of things said about him, but just being in the vicinity of these people, and for better or worse, hearing what they did right, hearing what they did wrong is always nice. Like, that's how I've learned so much in wrestling in my, short time on this planet. I've been able to watch people mess up and do things the right way. But I would definitely give a lot of, maybe not credit, but gratitude towards Ashworth and Pat Garrett in particular, because those 2 guys that have pulled me aside on multiple occasions and said, "Kid, you got it, bro. Right. Like, you're awesome." Like, Ashworth wanted to book me on his shows when he was going to start running shows again, which I'm still waiting on that right. call, but it's cool.
He's typing very slowly.
That's a guy I want on this
listen, no
show
disrespect to him. No disrespect to him at all.
Can you guys do like an impersonation of him at all? Because some people can.
Listen, I'll see you out there. Abba Zabba, Big John Wayne, sips beer, and
right.
Oh my God.
I did have a couple guys like they talk just like him, and I'm like, I love that. Yeah, I love impersonations. All right.
I wouldn't be doing it justice if I tried.
When you let AJ get in the ring, what age did you like find, where you weren't right there when you finally said, "All right, kid, you can, work with somebody that's besides yourself"?
When we had our first building, there were birthday parties that were a lot less,
serious.
A lot less pressure, a lot less serious. Sometimes it was friends of mine that knew I had a ring and they wanted their kid's birthday party there. And then it was where we could say, okay, see what you can do against like Dick Lane or Tom Billington. And that's really kind of where he got his feet wet as far as in those low pressure situations. And it grew from there.
I seem to recall there was a time where you were like hospital bed sick with a skin infection of some kind, and yes. I had to replace you for a birthday show against Tom, and I think that was one of the very first times where that was like all right, Austin, here you go.
Yep.
Nice. I've never met Tom. I'm looking forward to meeting him. Is he booked on your shows?
Absolutely.
Oh, cool.
Tom is my right-hand man. He is very helpful behind the scenes.
He just bummed your son out. I'm just kidding.
It's all right, I'm the left hand. No, wait, that's Bobby Rossi.
Whoever answers the text message first is the right-hand man.
There you go. Yeah, he doesn't answer right away.
His ability to answer text messages is as good as his driving.
Oh,
my driving
girlfriend
is really
drives
good.
me nuts. I'll text her and ask her a question, and she'll put like she likes it. I'm like, answer the question.
No, Tom's great. He's always active behind the scenes with the audio setup and video editing and things of that nature. He's very helpful in that stuff too. We filmed something at our office area, at an undisclosed location, where it was our return back to after COVID.
Right.
And he did all the editing, and
On my phone, I'll add.
yeah, the things these kids can do on their phone is
Right.
remarkable.
That's cool. I heard somebody brought up Bobby Rossi. Is he work for you too?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love Bobby.
Yeah, he's a great friend of mine, and I got a lot of love for Bobby Rossi.
So is he a commentator?
Ring announcer, commentator? He helps behind the scenes.
Nice.
Like, you were saying before the show went on, like just here early on talking by yourself, you knew you needed a co-host. And it's good to have somebody, whether it be him, Rossi, Tom, to bounce ideas off
Right.
of. It's very important. And Rossi's always there with an honest answer. I don't need yes men. And, like I said, always
Yeah,
helpful.
Bobby's straight shooter.
Absolutely.
All right. AJ, was there ever a time when you were young going to shows where you were worried about your dad during a match? I know you already said you cried when you saw him for the, but I'm talking maybe when you were 13, 14, and I know you started young, but did you ever see a match where you were worried about him?
As I got older, I started realizing my dad was dishing it and therefore could take it. So by 13, 14, I don't think I was getting worried anymore.
Okay.
But I like he said, there was a time where he was bleeding. I came outside from a nap and saw that and started crying. I do seem to remember a tag team street fight of some kind in one of our previous buildings. I guess they're all previous buildings now, but point stands. I think that I was a little concerned for his health in that one. But other than that, like I said before, the lines of wrestling and reality have always been blurred for me. So I pretty much expected Superman to be okay.
He would be on the hard camera, just moving it from side to side. And during most of the matches, even if the most violent, he's just laughing it up and talking to other people and doing his own commentary. You gotta mute that camera and go with the other camera's volume.
Bro, I was stealing everybody's shine from the hard cam position.
All right. How about you, T? Anytime you were worried about AJ during any of his matches?
All the time.
Yeah.
He's done ladder matches that I don't dare watch. He wrestled Brian Malonis, and I know Brian's a great guy.
Right.
Won't hurt you in the ring, but that's a big size difference.
Yeah.
So, many a times. But he can hold his own, and that's just the father in me, I think.
Right.
Always worried.
Well, you brought up Brian Malonis real quick. Let's give him congratulations on winning the New England All-Stars Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, he won?
Yes.
Good for him.
Beating Eddie Edwards, former world champion.
Oh, see, I knew that was happening.
Brian's one of my favorite wrestlers, and you're right, though. Great guy. Absolutely. You knew he was going to take. You know what I mean? Yeah. But, yeah, I would be worried, too. Brian's a very big man.
Mm-hmm.
And the best pound-for-pound professional wrestler on the planet.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I love the look. I love the little, what do you call that? He's got a, I know, obviously people call it a hat, but what is that?
What, the man bun?
No, not the man bun. He was wearing a hat the other day. You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it.
Flat. It's weird. I don't know.
Is it a
Let
Bobby
me know
Ross
when you, because you're a young kid, you'll know before I will what it is. If you'll see pictures
So it's
of
a
him
new
on
thing.
Facebook, send me a
It's a
message.
new thing. Okay.
Oh, look.
Yeah, it's new. All right. Have you ever wrestled on a show against each other?
Oh, my God, yes.
Oh, that's it. All right.
Multiple times.
Really?
Yes.
Most notably at not Fairhaven, Fenway. For what was that, Test of Strength?
Yeah.
Or not Test of Strength.
So that was
it's
Bo
like a
Douglas's
joint deal.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
Test of Strength involved, but it's
Dante
Belltime
Luna.
Club.
Yes.
Belltime Club with Dante Luna.
But we've done
Yes.
House of Bricks. We've done Fenway, and
We wrestled against each other at XWA. I booked us against each other at not the TCW of our actual Acclaim, like
Right.
my TCW that was originally a backyard show.
Okay.
We did one for reunion wrestling with the Mac Attack. We had I don't know what type
I
of
need
match
to meet
was
those
supposed to be.
you should,
I really do.
You got they're podcasting aficionados as well, so I
Right.
feel like you guys would probably get along really
Yeah.
well. I mean, they
Definitely
might invite
wanna meet
you
'em.
on some French wine, but just don't say no.
I'll never say no to booze.
I didn't say booze. I said French wine.
air quotations.
Oh, okay.
We'll fill you in
I
later.
like that too.
Chocolate cake.
Oh, that's funny.
Goddamn, pal.
So, what about tag teaming?
Not as frequently, but we have.
Okay.
Was it?
Can I turn around? We got
Yeah.
the Phoenix Legacy shirt.
There you go. Yeah, we
Nice.
when we do team up, it's Phoenix Legacy is the team name. What was it? I guess the last time was against David Baker and Chris Cruz back in December of 2019.
Wow, it's been that long.
Yeah, it has been that long. It's a lot of fun, and I really, really would like to do it again. I don't feel as though there's many things left in wrestling that I want to do or have left to do, but I would never pass up an opportunity as standing beside him in a ring anywhere.
That's awesome. Guys, I don't know if you can see the whole shirts, but they got AJ's dad and T's kid. It's really cool, really appropriate for this episode.
Father's Day gift.
As predicted by The Simpsons.
Yeah, right? When did you start up our RWA? You said in 2007.
Yes.
And you did have a school that was going with it for a while where you were paying the bills. Who was the head trainer?
That was Brickhouse Baker at times. Well, later on it was Brickhouse Baker.
Yep.
Starting off, JT Dunn. Mike Bennett also ran it for a little while, as well as Biff Busick while we were down in Providence. But then now, once we had moved to Pawtucket, Brickhouse took over, and that was our last one.
Wow. Did you guys see what you guys feel like when Matt Taven won the Ring of Honor World Championship, Madison Square Garden? Just local guy. I mean, what did you guys think?
Let me take it away. There's been, and I'm not saying this out of any personal disrespect because I don't think I've even met the guy with anything, but the one time I met him, it was cordial, it was very nice, but being at the level we're at, so we're local, and he's on the way to big time, right? We'll just paint it as black and white as that. And there's been people that have come and gone to his trainings, didn't like his approach to things. We've had students that trained with Brickhouse that went to his school and told, everything they know is wrong. And I'm not disrespecting Matt Taven in any regard because what he's doing is working. He was the ROH champion. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, that's somebody I have a rather close connection to on some level because he's trained some of my best friends or people I've worked with. It was a cool thing to see, but at the same time, it was like, well, I mean, I wish I was actually cool with him so I could actually be happy for him. Right. So I took it away because I don't know exactly where you stand on it, and I don't want heat for it. But
I'm probably gonna get heat because I'm gonna say something after you guys do. So don't worry about it. I'll take the heat off you guys because
I don't personally care for him.
All right, I'll tell you why I don't personally care for him. A good friend of mine had a wedding and sent him an invitation and he didn't even answer it back. To me, that's it's an honor to be invited to someone's wedding. And if you can't go, you should send it back and, and be cordial and be like, not just blow it off. These guys were friends for a long time. So, I'm not going to say my friend's name, but if David ever knows, if ever watches this, he'll figure it out. I mean, it's not too hard to figure out. I just think that's kind of a shitty thing to do. But he's talented. So I'm not gonna,
And that's the tough thing with wrestling. You meet a lot of people that are so good at wrestling that you just wish you didn't have to have a conversation with after.
You know what's funny? I hear sometimes every once in a while I'll hear it. The baby faces in the ring are the jerks out of the ring.
Because they're the ones making the money.
And the heels that are in the ring are the best guys out of the ring. Is that that happen a lot?
It happens a lot, yeah. I'd say that.
I think it's because the heels do it more for the love of the sport, whereas the baby faces are doing it to make the money off merch,
Well, heels make money off of merch now, too.
Yeah. Nowadays, yes.
I mean, they might as well, honestly. I mean, everybody knows the kayfabe's broken, so why not, Either that or just have someone sitting there with your merchandise. I heard Jim Cornette say that. That probably makes more sense.
Absolutely. I remember Raven telling a story about early on in his Portland days where he was had somebody take a picture of him picking his nose, and the baby faces sold the picture for him. Yeah. So he was ribbing himself, making money. It's like genius. Yeah. More people should do that.
Yeah, Raven's incredible, man. I've watched so many shoot interviews with him, and they're just always so entertaining. It's kind of like a New Jack shoot interview. Mm-hmm. I could always be entertained by that too. All right, can you take us through a typical day that you have a show that night?
Oh, no.
I know it's going to be probably all over the place, but could you try?
Well, I mean,
I've never asked anyone this before.
I could, yeah. It's
wake up.
We had one just recently.
Okay.
Get a shitty night's sleep. Sorry. I just had a tow hitch put on the back of my Jeep Grand Cherokee. So now that I can rent a trailer, I'm not paying for mileage from U-Haul. So 7 a.m., I go pick up the trailer. This was great. They hook up the lights. I turn them on. They're not working. They wouldn't let me leave unless the lights were working.
Right.
I didn't realize I was turning it on to the daytime running switch. So there was a mild heart attack at 7 in the morning to start things off.
Yeah.
Grab a coffee, come back, wait for Bobby Rossi. He's the only one helping me load the trailer because this guy is working. Get the trailer loaded. Just about to take off, head to the venue. I get a call from my ex-wife because there is hair in the tub and it's disgusting and somebody's got to do something about it. So I'm dealing with non-wrestling related BS on a show day.
You got to go home and take the hair out of the tub.
I'm not doing it.
Right.
Somebody, I gotta
Is
be
that your mom?
That's my mom.
Okay.
and it's his hair probably.
No, it's not. That's the problem. I just got done fighting with her about this.
you
My
have
hair comes
to.
out of the drain after the shower.
It's got to be his hair.
No, I'm responsible.
So
Moving on.
head over to the venue. Our new venue's in Riverside. It's where NCW used to run. They have tables and chairs scattered everywhere, so I got to pull all that stuff out of the way. Bobby Rossi took a detour. He's not there yet, so I'm just making room for the ring.
Right.
It's about 11:30. Other people start showing up to help. We start moving the ring in, and then you start getting the messages. Hey, I'm going to be 20 minutes late because I got to do this. Hey, what time's call time? I don't understand. Like, you've been around wrestling long enough. Call time is always, for me, 2 hours before bell time.
Okay.
I don't understand why that question
Posted
could...
in the group already, maybe?
That too. What's the address? You mean the address that I posted 3 weeks ago?
The thing, yeah.
And people will comment and bump it up. It's like, it's a hair-pulling experience.
Right.
Then you're putting the ring together, and maybe you're tightening the ropes or whatever, and people are leaning on the ropes. Stop leaning on the ropes. Oh, sorry, I didn't know. And then so it's little things like tying the apron on. Oh, it doesn't go that way. Oh, I always do it this way. I said, I know, and I tell you not to. It's just you don't remember.
Looking at you, Bob.
You went there. Yes, it was Bob.
I'm going to drink now.
The ring's set up. Then you're worried about, like, I bought a 75-inch TV to have as like a video screen. So we're stacking tables to put it up in the air to have like an access way to walk under it.
Right.
So there was, oh my God, it's going to fall. We shouldn't do this. I'm like, no, it's fine. And just tightening up all the little things, sweeping up, setting up chairs. And when other people set up chairs, I'm going on a rant, I know.
No, it's all right. No, because this is good. This is good.
When other people set up chairs, they're all crooked. And I'm like, is it too much to ask for just to have a straight line? And you got this one directly in front of the ring post. Think about it. Would you want to sit there? No.
Right.
There's just things that go unnoticed by the casual person that's never done it before. And then, it's a good problem to have. Come showtime, people are coming in. There's a line. You didn't put up enough chairs, so now you're scrambling to make more room. Ran out to buy water at the last second because it's hot as hell in the building, and I completely slipped my mind. This plug doesn't have any electricity, get an extension cord, a variety of different things.
Right.
But, then it's finally showtime, and after doing all that, I designated myself as camera person, so I'm going to be on my feet for the next 3 hours. And I almost fell backwards over onto JT Dunn's girlfriend as I'm trying to record. It was just way too many people in there. I'm trying to get a good shot without standing in anybody's way.
Right.
The matches were great from top to bottom. I'm just recalling things that happened on our September 18th show. And then by the end of the night, it's take it all down and put it all away. And thankfully, there's a lot more people at the end of the night willing to help. But in the process, my 75-inch TV broke. So I'm not sure how, but it was working when we took it down, and it wasn't working when I took it out of the truck.
Now, where are you running your shows now? What building?
Riverside American Legion Hall. It's East Providence for people who may not
They do
know.
the concessions for you?
We do the concessions. They wanted 10.
Smart.
They wanted
too many companies don't want to do that.
They would have the bar open upstairs for an additional $10 an hour for the bartender, but there's a bar downstairs you can go to.
Right.
And we set up the concessions. My mother gifted us a popcorn maker.
Yep.
And that's been a big help.
I bet.
The only other thing I'd probably do next time is have pizza slices for sale too. But yeah, go to BJ's, grab some soda, grab some snacks, and it's a great source
I got
of
a
income.
free hot dog machine. I use that at Atlantic Pro. I mean, it's awesome, you know? I mean, I got it for nothing. It was at my school. One principal bought it. She used it twice for opening days for the Red Sox, and then quit and left it there. So I showed the new principal. I'm like, and he's like, you want it? I'm like, yeah, obviously I do. I wouldn't be pointing at it if I did. All right. What about you? Like knowing you're helping them, right? Or you're at work probably, but like, do you ever feel guilty that you're not there helping them?
Oh, almost
Because you know you're at work and or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was obviously made easier for me, but I've run shows before. Like I didn't have the stress of, the building. Where's that coming from? Like it was his building, it was his ring, it was mostly his guys. Like it was mostly just my creative direction. Like, so I understand or I like to think I understand the stress that goes into running a wrestling show. And I also know that the role I play is very multifaceted because I'm already coming in like some people might be giving me the side eye because your dad's the promoter, so
You're always gonna get
you're
that a
just
little
you're
bit
just
from
here, right? So I gotta make sure I'm actually setting an example on two ends. Like I want kids that have been trained by Brickhouse to do things the way I do it because I know I'm doing it the right way because Brickhouse and him sign off on it. You know what I mean? Like, but definitely, like, if I'm still at work until 11, 12 o'clock in morning into afternoon and I'm not there to help, I do feel kind of terrible about it. But at the same time, I know he gets it. It's not any hard feelings. The scramble to get there and to insert myself and help out and all that, just comes with the territory.
Right. I just want to tell you, I'm impressed by your son, his work ethic. You know what I mean? Not many kids at his age, can be a manager. And stuff like, no, seriously though, I told you that the first time you were on, and I'd say I'm proud of you even, you know what I mean?
Thank
Because
you.
you're a hardworking kid and just keep doing it.
Car doesn't pay for itself.
Once you're deemed lazy, it's so hard to get that back.
True.
Yeah.
Guys, give us some of your favorite memories from RWA. T, why don't you go first?
This is a weird one. It's the first thing that popped into my mind. It was 2011, and there was a hurricane coming. And rather than run the show the night of the hurricane, we bumped it up one night, so we did it a Friday instead of a Saturday. And at the end of the night, we started playing Rock You Like a Hurricane, and we took this big tub of water and dumped it on the champion at the time, and we were like making snow angels in the rain. It's a vinyl canvas. It's like a slip and slide. It's gonna wash right off. It's no big deal. I don't know why that was the first thing that came to mind. There's a picture on my Facebook page that's me, him, and his brother after that tag team match that I spoke about with David Baker and Chris Cruz, where we're just kind of taking our moment after the match in the ring, and I took a screenshot of the video, and I'll leave that thing there forever because even though my youngest isn't into wrestling, just to have them both there was an extremely special moment.
And how old is your youngest?
He's 16.
16. What's his name?
Adam.
Adam. What's up, Adam? Hopefully you're going to watch.
That's young Phoenix, bro. That's YP.
Yeah, he's hoping to have a blossoming rap career.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
15,000 listens on SoundCloud.
Seriously?
Don't sleep on him.
Dude, that's awesome. How about you? Some great memories from RWA.
I know last time I talked about the time machine with Dick Lane that involved him and Tom versus Cipriano Abruzzi and Chris Dozer, which by the end they slipped through the time machine again and they swap teams, swap allegiances. Now it's a whole new match. Both teams come in as the tag team champion. Somebody that's on the active roster is now a referee again. Like that was in the moment. I couldn't possibly explain it or recreate it anyway. Like it was just so cool to experience. And I was on camera for it, so I'm screaming the whole time like, "Yo, what is happening?" But I can't name any real specific moments with RWA because I've really like seen it all. Like I could tell you like watching guys like Mike Montero slowly start to take this area over. Like
talented kid, man.
you know what I mean? I hate it. AJP hates Mike Montero, but I love my big brother Mikey.
Right.
And I'm very proud of the things he does. Guys like him, Steve Lust, the entire Dirt City Murder crew, as a matter of fact. So Jason Devine and Ricky Medeiros and Sean Leader and Tom Billington. I could name everybody on the roster. Just
insane. Dick Lane.
Of course, Dick Lane. How did he slip my mind? It's just Jamie Tucker. Like I could be here for the next 13 minutes.
There's a lot of guys you just named that I want to get on this show. So,
hey, let me know, bro.
We'll
I
drive
got
them up here.
nice. All right.
At the speed of light.
Yeah.
Have either one of you guys suffered any major injuries where you were out for 6 months or something like that?
Not 6 months. I took a superplex off the top rope and broke my ankle, but that was 6 weeks. Probably should have been longer.
Yeah.
But I'm stubborn.
Right.
And they only put me in a boot, so if you give me something I can take off, I'm going to take it off. But I've been pretty lucky otherwise.
That's cool. How about you?
I remember one of my first dark training matches that we did. I sprained my wrist. I wasn't out for any period of time for that because I was just practicing. I've had a nagging knee injury since I played basketball and I didn't even wrestle yet. So that's probably something that's going to bite me in the ass at some point. And I really don't want to even think about that. But I'm very, like him, I'm very fortunate that I've never really had to, say, all right, I can't wrestle. I'm too hurt. There's been a couple, I've missed a taping or two because I woke up the next day and I just couldn't move. But by the next day I'm at work, I don't have a choice, So wrestling, it'll be there forever. It's all right. Give me a minute. I'll be back.
Well, that's smart, though. I mean, if you feel too, you can come back the next weekend probably, or at least a month later. Yeah. All right. How long do you plan on keeping wrestling and then promoting?
Wrestling.
Bad question.
If you were asking me the morning of September 18th, that night was the last night. It's a love-hate.
Does that happen a lot
in
your head at least?
Yes, it's a love-hate relationship because it's just so much stress and so much work. But then when you see it all come together, it's maybe a couple more shows. Truly, I don't have the answer. I'll wrestle here and there, but I don't want to do it full time. I've done a lot and experienced a lot, and I think there are a ton more people better qualified and more talented that can be in there, and I'm not taking their time or their spotlight. Right. That's really what it boils down to.
Nice. Right. You're gonna keep going, so I'm not even worried about it. Let me ask something. If your dad, let's say you get older and stuff, and your dad says, "I don't want to do RWA anymore," are you gonna be right there to be like, "I'm taking over"? That's
my goal.
That's cool.
And especially in the last couple of years, I feel like I've been trying to pay more attention to the little things, and like I said, I like to think I know how to run a wrestling show, but to fill his shoes, it takes a lot because it's not just a matter of doing what any other wrestling promoter does. It's then not forcing that young kid to do that work for you. It's knowing you're the only one that's going to do it right, and you're going to go and do it yourself. And nobody can take that away from him. Right. I know that it's one of his biggest worries, and my mom's as well. They don't want me to fall into wrestling as my life because, and this is why I go to school and work so hard in my real life too. Yeah. I want all that taken care of. So by the time he's ready to say, all right, I'm done with RWA, I'll be financially stable. I'll be moving up in the world, and I'll be able to say, all right, let's make this the next Ring of Honor. You know what I mean? Not to say it can't already be. But
it could happen. You have to have dreams and goals.
But to answer your question directly, absolutely, I would love to, be the next TP.
I hope it all happens later after you have a big career, to be honest with you. Because like I said, man, don't sell yourself short. I told you before, you're a very talented kid. Just keep working hard, man, and keep wrestling.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's the truth. I wouldn't lie to you. AJ, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Actually, in 5 years, I see myself with my car paid off, hopefully a house, owning a house, not married, no kids, couple cars. I want to be on all the big shows. I want to be where AG and JT are right now. I want to be where Carmelo Hayes is going. And I name these people because they're big inspirations. In 5 years, I'm going to have 2 college degrees, a house, and a car in my name. And
good.
That's what I need. And, all the other things will come with it. Wrestling, like, I know if I stay at the level I'm at and just keep slowly digging away at it, I'll eventually get there. But at some point, I'm going to flip a switch, and I'm just going,
Nice. T, same question.
On a beach with an alcoholic beverage in my hand, watching RWA on TV while he's running it. You said
I
that,
like that.
You said that you'd like to see him have his career and then take over. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go that long. No, truthfully, like, I gave a lot of my life and to wrestling. There were many nights where I was busy doing something wrestling related, and I lost out on a lot of time with both my kids. I was selfish, and I regret it immensely. Like, I very much feel like I've done a lot, and if it ended tomorrow, I'd be okay with that. And during the pandemic, I found out what life was like without wrestling, and life is doable without wrestling. And
but it wasn't much fun. It wasn't as fun, was it?
I mean, I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off, but I probably traveled more then than I have in my whole life. Like, I went down to Florida, and I lived to tell the story.
Yeah.
That's Clearwater Beach I fell in love with, so I'm thinking, ooh, that'd be beautiful.
I didn't travel with
place,
him.
right?
Yes. But, much like him, I want to be successful in my personal life and with my job. And I feel like I have a good enough career where I live comfortably and paying my bills. I've got a wonderful girlfriend at home who we get along better than anyone I could have ever imagined.
Nice.
And
it's important. It is.
That's what life is for me. Wrestling is something that we all get together and we enjoy, but life comes first.
Nice. Guys, we got like 6 minutes left. I got a couple of testaments from a couple people, and I'd like to read them to you.
Okay.
The first one is from the ace, Mike Montero.
His favorite son.
In all honesty, they are so much alike. It's crazy. The drive to succeed, the worth ethic. AJ is smart enough to do anything he wants in this world. But I also have no doubt that while he's accomplishing his goals, he's going to follow in T's footsteps and keep RWA alive. Next one is from Todd Graham, a very frequent guest of this show. I know he's, let's say, controversial to some people, but myself, I love Todd Graham.
Absolutely.
I really do. So Todd, I think it's a genuine treat that AJ and T are not only in the business, but get to work together. They have wrestled against each other and as a team many times before, and it's something I would have wanted had I had kids. It's awesome to see AJ growing up doing something he loves and his dad loves, and T gets a front row seat. In my opinion, it's not often you get to see what they have done as father and son in wrestling on any level. And there are so many stories to tell. Love those two genuinely. That's from, like I said, good friend of the show. And obviously a good friend of you, Todd Graham. Yeah. I got another one. It's on a video, though. I think.
Oh, boy.
Nope. I don't have my phone's in the car. I'll show you afterwards, but I will add it at the end of this episode, but I'll show you when we leave.
Okay.
Can we have
guys,
spoilers?
How about doing some plugs and your upcoming shows?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we were alluding to earlier, we're running the Riverside American Legion. That's for anybody who may be a historian. NCW used to run there years ago. We did our first show back in September 18th. We're going to be back there on October 30th for RWA Devil's Night. Tickets are actually on sale now. No matches have been announced yet, but that'll be coming very soon. We actually just put our videos out from the last show.
Oh, nice.
Called RWA Fit to Be Tied. That's on our YouTube page, youtube.com/the RWA Forever. Tickets for October 30th are available on the RWA Forever, not the RWA, RWA number forever.com. You can get merchandise there. You can get tickets there. All the information you need. We're all over social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
I do the same thing, RWA.
RWA Forever or the RWA Forever. Yeah, one of the two.
Nice.
Absolutely. Am I forgetting anything?
If you're hungry for breakfast, come on down to Sports Kitchen at Longplex Sports Complex in Tiverton, Rhode Island, where I make the breakfast of champions for you Monday to Thursday, 6:30 in the morning. Well, I'm there at 6:30 in the morning. You can come hang out at 7 in the morning until we'll say about 11 or 12, and you can have the best breakfast made absolutely anywhere in Rhode Island, made by me, AJP. But back to wrestling. I hope that gets me a raise. Like you said, RWA this, RWA that. I'm gonna plug the Proving Ground as I am its champion. Nice. We have when are the next tapings going out? We just did a taping yesterday. Stay tuned for.
Is that Proving Ground?
Yes, stay
excellent.
tuned for a streaming event coming soon with the Proving Ground. That is the DLC show. We are crowning a new DLC champion, and I am defending against the Mighty Bosch. That's Proving Ground HD on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and I believe Facebook as well. Or Facebook's just Proving Ground. I think I'm good. That's all the.
All right, well, let's. We got a couple minutes. Let's talk about that Fenway show. Now, you guys did more than one Fenway show, right? But did you wrestle just once?
I've done more than one Fenway show.
That's the only one I did.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he was the whole few months leading up to it. He was like, "Oh, I want to get on that show. I want to get on that show." And then Bo asked me if I would do that show. I said yes, and I'm sure AJ will too. Let me record his reaction because I know this is going to be a big deal. And it was perfect. I still have it in my phone actually.
Nice.
He
Bo
was,
is
he was
awesome,
thrilled.
man.
Yeah, Bo was
I
a
love
great
Bo.
guy. But we actually ended up like wrestling 3 times. We started off against each other.
Yeah.
And then it turned into a tag team match against Devin and Brickhouse.
Which, oh my God.
Was this the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't
huh?
get to go to the last one. I went to the
guess it
2
was.
before.
Yeah. It was, I think it was like match 18 of 27.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot
It was
of
a
matches.
long day. And then from wrestling Brickhouse and Devin, it turned into some tag team gauntlet where we had to wrestle one other time. So yeah, we were in there a minute.
Nice, nice. And Dante Luna does a great thing with the El Mundo Festival.
yes.
And like you said, that the Bell Time Club is involved. Guys, we got another bit. How about you guys? Pat Dillon. You guys know Pat?
I've done 1 or 2 UFO shows.
Oh, nice.
I was
Yeah.
advertised for one when I was going to become Proving Ground champion and then got robbed of it and then did not face Mike Skyros. Anyway.
Right? No, I just actually did the concessions for Pat. He was my very first guest. Just a good friend of the show. Do you remember who you wrestled on that UFO shows?
Want to say it was against Cipriano Abruzzi and Christopher Dozer, the Hollywood Balds.
Oh, nice.
I believe so, yeah. It was in like South Boston on a weekday?
South Boston.
I lived there for 5 years. That's one of my favorite places to live. You'd think it would be, but for me it is. I'm from Lowell. I'm a city kid.
I can't do the city.
You know? Real quick, who's the RWA champs?
The RWA champ is, well, the tag team champions are Christopher Dozer and Cipriano Abruzzi. The heavyweight championship belongs to Kellen Thomas.
Yep.
And the hype champion is Isana.
Nice.
You said heavy
Guys,
Triple Crown.
I just want to say thank you guys for coming on and being a part of this.
Absolute
It was
pleasure.
great
Thank
to meet you.
Likewise.
AJ, always a pleasure
to see you,
seeing you,
brother.
buddy. Guys, that's it. We're out. Peace. Hi, guys. I hope you're enjoying the show. Listen, I could use a little help to grow my YouTube channel. So if you could please like, share, and subscribe. That's most importantly, subscribe. Send me a direct message, and I'll give you a shout out here on the show. My YouTube channel is real simple. It's just my name, Leo Connors. Thanks in advance. Peace.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.